The Tragedy of Cinema podcast is intended as a family-friendly program that by extension strives to be inclusive to all people regardless of their ethnicity, gender, creed, or any other identifying factors in this incredibly diverse world of ours. With that said, some of the films we discuss may contain serious subject matters or have content considered morally objectionable by today's standards. We do not intend to condone or dismiss these aspects of these films, but our primary focus will be on what we believe the film succeeds at, some fun facts, and our personal enjoyment factors of each film. With that said, we hope you enjoy the show.
Jimbo and Kyle take flight. 80s dreams on the light. In the realm of black and white. Movies and TV flow through the stories we all know. Silver screen tales unfold in the magic they bestow. The tragedy of cinema, when memories shimmer. Join us as we toast to the tales we love the most.
Karen, I'm sorry. We just don't want to get it.
Karen, we're going to get help now.
Somebody help!
All right, guys, welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema podcast. I'm your host, Jimbo, and today I'm joined by my co-host.
Hey, this is Jason Bond. What's up?
We got Bond all the way from Texas. So, Bond, we finally got you to watch the right movie this time.
Hey, I'll have you know that Cabin in the Woods is a great movie.
But
it
it's
definitely should be covered on our podcast.
But it's no Cabin Fever.
It's no Cabin Fever, but it's good. It's worth a watch.
Oh, Bond.
I can't believe I was 2/3 of the way through that movie when I realized it was the wrong one.
the funny thing was, you're like, hey, Cabin in the Woods was a really good movie. I said,
yeah, I was like,
I'm sure it is, but
it.
we're not covering that movie. So,
that's great. When you're done, watch Cabin Fever.
Right. So I told Bond we'll probably have to cover that one too, just so he didn't waste time watching a movie. But Bond, before we get started, Cabin Fever is obviously a movie that takes place around a cabin in the woods. What are some of your favorite movies that take place around cabin in the woods? And you can't say cabin in the wood.
Oh, no. Let's see. Cabin in the Woods, I would have to say the best of all time is Evil Dead.
Absolutely.
Evil Dead by far. I mean, that's like a handheld camera, small budget, but man, that movie's like set the guidelines for all other like horror movies in the woods.
All right. Did you see that movie with Batista here recently?
Yeah.
What was that called? Yeah. What was that called? I can't remember. But that kind of took place in like the middle of probably a house in the wood, not a cabin in the wood, but that was a really good movie too.
Yeah. Where he's got to like convince the others that he needs to kill them. Right?
Yeah. Or the end of the world, the judgment day is going to come.
Exactly.
It's a really good movie.
That's really good. One of my other favorite Cabin in the Woods movies is Meatballs.
I was going to say Ernest Goes to Camp.
Ernest Goes to Camp is a good one. Yeah, Meatballs. There's the worst scene in Meatballs is the scene that's actually the Cabin in the Woods, where Bill Murray has a heart-to-heart talk with Woody. And that's like the worst scene in the movie. It like kills the whole.
I haven't watched Meatballs in forever.
Me neither. It's great.
We'll have to put that on the list. That has to be one we have to cover.
I agree. We have to do Meatballs. And some of the sequels, if we're brave enough, we'll do Meatballs too.
So, Bond, did you like Cabin Fever? Do you consider this a horror movie? How would you consider this? Would you consider it a comedy? Because it is funny at times.
It is funny at times, and we'll get into it later, or like all the little tweaks and aspects of Cabin Fever. But I think this movie pulls like all of the classic moments of all your horror films and puts it in one movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good about taking every cliche from every horror movie and putting it together
Right.
in one movie.
And I think what
I would
makes
definitely consider it horror, but it's more of like and we'll talk about Eli Roth in a little bit, but it's like an Eli Roth type horror movie where it's just grotesque. It's gory.
And I think one thing that makes this movie stand out from other horror movies is this is one of those ones, it could happen in real life. That's what makes it scary. So
Yeah,
because
exactly.
when you take real world events and stuff and put it into a movie where, oh, this could happen, like what was it, what was the one where they knock on the door with the strangers?
Strangers,
that totally could
Outbreak.
happen. Yeah, all that stuff. And I mean, we don't have to go back too many years ago when the COVID-19 outbreak and you know, Outbreak, the movie came out how many years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So Hollywood's ahead of its time at some of this stuff. So it's very interesting. But enough diddle-daddling. I think we should just jump right in. Go ahead, Bond. Take it away.
All right, we are going to be covering today Cabin Fever. It's a 2002 movie. It is considered comedy. It's considered horror. It was co-written and directed by Eli Roth. This is actually his directorial debut. And it's the first installment of the Cabin Fever franchise. Yikes. This film stars Ryder Strong, Jordan Ladd, James DeBello, Serna Vincent, Joey Kern, and Giuseppe Andrews. And I know you're thinking, who? Who are these people? I've never heard of any of them either. Inspired by real-life experience, where Roth developed a skin infection during a trip to Iceland. The story follows a group of college students who rent a cabin in the woods and fall victim to an unknown flesh-eating disease. So, in an odd, weird way, this is like based on an Eli Roth true story.
Yep.
So
Very
that's
interesting.
pretty creepy. So for the plot, if we want to get into actually what happens in the movie, this movie starts off with Henry. Henry's a hermit walking through the woods. He finds a dead dog. It's got this nasty blood infection. It's gross right off the bat, you know. And this thing, you could tell, he goes in there, he touches the dog, and he gets the dog's blood on him. So now poor Henry the hermit is infected, right? So like I said, this movie's full of all those little cliche horror movie moments. In this case, we have college students going off into the woods by themselves.
Imagine that.
Go ahead.
I said, imagine that. I mean, did they not ever watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre or any of those other old horror
Exactly.
movies?
I'm like, the 30 years of don't go into the woods if you're a young college student, but no, they do it. I have to admit, as a college student, I never gathered up 3 or 4 of my friends and said, hey, let's go out in the middle of nowhere and hang out in a cabin.
I don't think I've ever done that.
And what's weird about that is there's always that fifth wheel. Do you ever notice that? Like, there's never like the girls and the boys, the young men and the young women in all of these, they don't match up perfectly.
No.
Right? It's not 3 girls, 3 guys. It's always, like in this case, 2 girls, 2 guys, and an extra guy.
And the oddball.
Yeah, and the Joker. But anyway, we jump ahead. All right, so college student Jeff, Marcy, Paul, Karen, and Bert. They head to this remote cabin to celebrate October break. Did you get an October break up there in Indianapolis?
When I was a kid, I don't think we ever got a break like that. All I remember is we were out from Labor Day to we went to school Labor Day to Memorial Day. We had the whole summer off, and then we had like a little Christmas break. But nowadays, they get spring break, they get winter break, they get fall break, they get all these breaks.
Yeah, they have like 2 weeks off, like, you know, during Christmas, and you're like, man.
I mean, that's good for you,
October
Bond.
break.
You get a little extra time off.
Yeah,
But
I can't complain. So Bert leaves. He goes to hunt some squirrels, but now he accidentally shoots a now disfigured and bloody Henry. Despite Henry's pleas for aid, Bert flees and remains silent about the incident. So he's out there hunting. He accidentally shoots Henry. I think this is one of the best parts of the movie is actually the very, very beginning when they're at the campfire, they're gathered around, and this guy comes in. His name is Grim. He's a drifter. He's got his pet dog, and it rains. Grim leaves with his dog. The friends go inside and wait for Grim. Henry stumbles into camp begging for help. When Bert shuts the door on the sick hermit, he tries to steal the group's car, and meanwhile he's sick. He's vomiting blood, and Henry approaches Marcy and Karen, Paul accidentally sets him on fire. You ever accidentally set somebody on fire who came to the door?
It's so ridiculous at times.
It never comes up. Never comes up. But I love that scene though, because they're all gathered around and just hanging out at the camp, and and all of a sudden he just shows up and he's sick. And once again, like you were saying before, it's that real life. What would you do?
So
what would you do?
So true story. About 2 months ago, I leave for work really early in the morning, like 1:30 a.m. And I take my trash can out to the curb because it's a Friday morning. And all of a sudden this lady walks up to me and I'm like, what? She's like, she's got a band on from the hospital and she can't really speak English to me. Right. She's like, oh, please, I'm so sick. Can you drive me over here to my house? And me, I'm like, lady, this is 1:30 in the morning. You don't come up to a man anytime at this time of night and say, can you help me out? Because bad things will happen. But I was like, look, lady, I said, I'm running late. She's like, please, I'm so sick. I just got out of the hospital, please. And I said, look, I can't. I said, I'm running late. I kind of lied, but I was like, I've seen too many horror movies to even put myself in that position, because if I take her to her house and her husband or boyfriend comes out with a gun and shoots me, and what are you doing with my girlfriend, wife? I was like, I'm not putting myself in that position ever. So I was like, I kindly just had to say, no, I'm sorry. And she kept walking on down the street, but that's kind of scary.
Yeah, that would scare me a lot. I would jump out of my skin on that one. But yeah, there's no way you would ever say, sure, no problem, I'll help you out. Nope. You've seen way too many movies for that. You're much smarter than that, man. But so it's the same situation. It's a real life situation. Here they are hanging out at the cabin. This guy shows up. He's bloody. He's sick. He's obviously sick. What are you going to do? And then he coughs like right on him. He sprays blood all over him.
Yeah, the blood splatter.
Like, oh no, that's not good. So, all right. So we jump ahead. The next day, while seeking to help fixing their truck, Jeff and Bert encounter a butcher. But leave after learning that she is Henry's cousin. I love her, man. She's out in the barn. She's like slaughtering animals. Paul calls police deputy Winston, who promises to set up the tow truck. Paul tries comforting Karen, who's upset over Henry's death. After calming her down, Paul attempts to have sex with her, only to discover a bloody infected wound on her thigh.
No. Talk about a mood killer.
I know. That's terrible. That's terrible. No. That's terrible. Yeah. So that's probably another one of my favorite little scenes, because as a teen, that's gotta like haunt you. If you're 22 years old, if you're 18 years old and you see this movie for the first time, that's gotta scare you, man. That's gotta scare you. But that's crazy. That's crazy. But before I jump back in, let me tell you a little bit about the movie before. I totally skipped this part. I'm sorry about that. This movie came out September 14th, 2002, released September 12th, 2003 here in the United States. It's got a running time of 94 minutes, right? Of course, it's in English. It was distributed by Lionsgate. Now, here's the really cool thing, all right? It was made for $1.5 million, $1.5 million. In today's money, that's about $2 million. Okay. They sold it to Lionsgate for $3.5 million. Okay. The box office return on this movie was $30.6 million back in 2002. That's equal to $54 million today.
Got him.
So they took a $2 million movie and made $54 million.
Do you remember that? I think it was a Rally's commercial. The cha-ching, the guy in the drive-thru.
Exactly. Exactly. So this was a big, big hit for Lionsgate. This movie is the one that launched Eli Roth's career. The reason we know who Eli Roth is today, the reason he's able to make movies and do what he does with Hostel and all those other movies, is because of the success of this movie. This is the reason movies like Paranormal Activity was made, because big studios were willing to take a risk on low budget horror movies. it opened up that opportunity to say, you know what, here's a low budget horror movie, no stars in it, no one big, and just to show that those kind of movies can make a lot of money.
Well, it's like if you look at the success of the Terrifier franchise, same type of thing.
Yeah, it's in the same vein, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where it's like very little investment. Now this movie does star. I started naming like characters in the movie without telling you who.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Bond, who are these people?
I know. Okay,
you're
so
like, I don't know who these people are. Well, me either. Why are you going to tell us, or are we just going to go right into the plot?
I will. I jumped ahead. I was so excited about getting them in the.
So excited talking about a wound on a girl's thigh, you forgot all about the stars.
Once I got a wound on a girl's thigh, it was all over. All right, so Ryder Strong plays Paul. Ryder Strong, he was in Boy Meets World. That's the only thing I could find on him. He was in Boy Meets World. Not much. Like I said, all of these actors and actresses, don't expect much from them. They're not really, real big. Jordan Ladd played Karen. Now, here's something really cool. Jordan Ladd, who played Karen, is the daughter of Cheryl Ladd. Do you know who Cheryl Ladd is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
She was hot.
Checking.
She was.
You're all, who didn't? As a kid, who didn't?
Right.
Know Cheryl Ladd? All right. So Jordan Ladd is Sharon Ladd's daughter. She was in movies like Never Been Kissed, and she was also in the Quentin Tarantino movie Death Proof. James DeBello played Bert, and he was in the movie Detroit Rock City,
which we've covered on this podcast, by the way.
Which is an amazing movie, by the way. Detroit Rock City is amazing. That movie is so funny. Serena Vincent plays Marcy. Marcy was she was in the Power Rangers. I think she was in the Power Rangers movie.
Huh.
Not really like the show, but like the Power Rangers movie.
But she has like the Pink Ranger or the Yellow Ranger. Do you know?
I think so. And then she was also in Not Another Teen Movie. Joey Kern as Jeff was in Super Troopers. Our Henry the Hermit that I mentioned earlier, he was in Thin Red Line. He also was in Frank Miller's Sin City. Giuseppe Andrews played Deputy Winston. He was also in Detroit Rock City. So there's another good reason to watch that one.
Mm-hmm.
He was also in Never Been Kissed, along with Jordan Ladd. And he's the only character that comes out in Cabin Fever 2.
Oh, no.
I know. I'm afraid of it, too. Eli Roth, the director and co-writer of this movie, plays Justin. Mm-hmm. He was also the writer and director of the movie Hostel and all the Hostel sequels.
Did you like Hostel?
And played a small role in Inglourious Bastards.
Did you like Hostel?
No, I'm not really into those torture.
That was a weird movie, man. It makes you not want to travel overseas anywhere.
Yeah, I've seen it once, and that was enough for me. I get it. You go and, it's a terrible situation, but it's just too disturbing for me to watch more than once, I think. Mm-hmm. I think it's one of those movies that if you're a fan of horror, you have to watch it once. But I don't know. It's just not one of those movies I would watch. Was it
that one or the second one where those kids that, the one kid has like the candy bars or bubble gum and he passes out to the kids and they end up taking that dude's head off and playing like soccer with it. You remember that?
Yeah, I think that was in the second one.
Man.
Yeah. That was insane. So Eli Roth, like I mentioned before, he co-wrote this movie while he was a student at NYU. He and his roommate wrote this movie together. Eli Roth got his start. He was behind the scenes helping the director of Howard Stern's Private Parts. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen Howard Stern's Private Parts?
I have.
Okay. Well, he was helping out with that in 1995, and that inspired him to write a script. And then, of course, I'd mentioned before, he got a really bad skin infection when he was working on a farm in Iceland. And that's how he got the idea for this movie. Let's see. All right, so let's get back to our script. There's a lot of other characters in here. There's, the side character, little, here and there people. Oh, the dog.
Mm-hmm.
The dog's real name was Rock.
Yep.
So that's.
Did you like the sheriff and the wannabe sheriff in this movie?
The wannabe sheriff in this movie, yeah, he was pretty funny too.
Well, what about the general store guy? The owner.
Was that Old Man Caldwell?
Yeah.
Yeah, played by Robert Harris.
Yeah.
Old Man Caldwell.
He played a great character. And if you wait till the end of the movie, like
Cabin 2.
like you watch you watch it, and they drop some language in here that's really looked down upon today, and not really, it's wrong. Okay, but if you wait till the end,
what you're talking about.
if you wait till the end of the movie, it's pretty. It comes back around, and it's kind of interesting how they brought it back to what he was talking about. So
I agree.
Just be warned if you watch it and a word is dropped, just watch till the end. And I think it was done for shock value, but at the end you'll see what happens.
I agree. That's one of the things. I mean, we'll talk about it after let me finish up the plot of the movie, tell everybody what the movie's about, and then we'll kind of get into that because that's something else I wanted to talk about. Well, all right. So jumping back in, sorry about that rude interruption, but here we go. Paul discovers Henry's body floating in the reservoir and realizes that the infection is spreading throughout the water supply. They return to the cabin. Paul finds Marcy's bloody remains and sees Dr. Mambo feeding on the weakened Karen. Oh man, that scene was hard
gross
to watch.
Yeah.
Right? He walks in and the dog's like eating on her, and you're like, oh. This movie's not for the faint of heart. I'm just telling you that right now, Jimbo.
No.
This is an advanced level horror movie.
I am telling you, the girl shaving her leg scene. Whew, that's pretty grimy.
That's, to me, okay, if I was to square this movie down into one scene, that's the scene. That's the scene. Here, what's this movie about? Here, I'll show you.
This girl shaving her leg and her skin starts coming off. It's just...
she starts peeling layers of skin off, and you're like, that's not good.
No.
That's not good. Well, a dying Bert returns to the cabin, pursued by Dennis's father and two of his companions. The posse kills Bert, and Paul kills all three of them. Paul looks for Jeff and instead finds Grimm's corpse in a cave. Paul takes the convenience store's truck, and while driving, discovers that he's infected before hitting a deer. He reunites with Deputy Winston, who is partying with underage drinkers. Paul requests a ride to the hospital, but before the group departs, Winston is ordered to kill on sight several infected people on a killing spree. So this thing just spreads like crazy. Everyone's infected. What I love about it is people get infected and they try to hide it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know how bad it's going to get. You know how gross it's going to be and how terrible this death is going to be. So you're hiding it from your friends. And like we mentioned before, you saw that during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that during COVID. You saw people who would be sick and you'd kind of like cover it up.
The one question I have for this movie, and I guess maybe it's the point I think I have a problem with, is it shows the dead guy in the water system and it's going through the water treatment plant.
Right.
If you watch this movie, it seems like the disease goes real fast and kills them really fast. I mean, a matter of hours. If it's in the water plant, the water treatment thing for that whole small city, I mean, you're talking about the sheriffs, you're talking about all the party people, you're talking about everybody would have been infected. And that's the kind of part that kind of threw me off for this movie, because if it's in the water treatment system and they're drinking water, at the sheriff's station, prisoners, hospitals, whatever, it would have went a lot faster than the movie led on. But I guess you would never have a Cabin Fever 2 if not. Well,
here's kind of what I was thinking with that. Just because there's a dead body near the water treatment plant, wouldn't the water treatment process take care of all that?
They say a lot of your sewage that you flush down the toilet goes through a water treatment center and you end up back in your faucet. So who knows?
Because I was thinking, okay, so the dog's drinking directly from the river. So he's drinking direct
contact.
So I can see the dog getting infected and then infecting other people. So it being spread that way, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But through the water treatment plant, I'm like, you think you'd get rid of most of the contaminants.
You would think, but you really don't know what type of infection it is. I mean, can it be done away with just a water treatment thing?
Yeah.
You don't know.
We really don't know how how patient 0 got started either, right?
Right. And I haven't watched the second one yet, so maybe they answer some questions in some of the other parts of this series. I don't know. But I mean,
That's true.
I mean, you can leave the door open to explore that anytime he wants.
Yeah, that would be nice to see like how it all got started. But I do love the fact that it spread so quickly
Mm-hmm.
because it's one of those things that it can't be stopped.
Yep.
Once it's spread out, now it's like 2 people, 4 people, 8 people. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. And it's not a good death. The worst part to me was when they locked Karen up in
heartbreaking.
dead. Oh man, that's just bad. And that's the hardest part.
But what would you do,
Let me finish
Bond?
this up. It's
What are you going to do? I mean, can you imagine if it was your wife and you know she's infected? Hey, I'm going to take you out here to this shed and we're going to put the lock on the door.
Let me ask you this. When somebody has the flu or somebody in your home is really, really sick, what do you do with them?
I stay away from them.
You stay away from them, right? You put them in a bedroom or something and you close the door and no one's allowed to go in there except one person maybe.
But you don't chain the door shut. Lock the door, right?
That's because the person's not trying to get out. They're too sick to try to
Yeah, exactly. So why would they have to chain the door? Because they know that once that infection takes over, I mean, if you remember the dog, he was very aggressive. So I think they know that she'll be aggressive once the full transformation takes place.
I think so. But you have to isolate them. And so that's all they were doing. They were keeping themselves safe. So here's the way it finishes out, right? The next day, Jeff, he's been hiding out. He's been drinking in the woods. He returns to the cabin. Initially, he's crying because he sees the remains of all of his friends. It's gotten everybody. He becomes ecstatic upon realizing that he survived. He did it. He raises his arm in victory. And as he does, boom, killed by the local police.
It reminds me of the great Night of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Is that the way that movie The Fog ended too? Something similar to that?
I love The Fog. That is my favorite all-time horror movie.
Okay.
But I don't think it was The Fog. I think you're thinking of The Mist.
Oh, The Mist. There you go.
Yeah, where they come to the stop sign and, he kills all his family and then
there's the military.
Yeah, the military shows up like, ta-da, you're rescued.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, man. That's right. That's what I was thinking of, The Mist. An excellent movie. So he shows up. He's devastated. All his friends have died. But then he's like, yes, I did it. I survived. I beat this virus. I win. I win. And he goes out and gets shot by the sheriff. So local police. And they just stack him up with the remains of everybody else. They burn them all up. Right? The very last scene has 2 kids. They get water from the lake for their lemonade stand.
There you go.
Not realizing that a barely alive Paul is in the lake and has contaminated the water.
And I do believe the sheriff.
And his deputies stop at the convenience store
exactly
and buy a glass of lemonade.
Hilarious.
That's awesome. So that's the movie. That's the movie Cabin Fever. Not Cabin in the Woods, Cabin Fever.
Hey, did it win any awards, Bond?
I don't see any awards. I couldn't find anything.
It did in your heart, though, didn't it? It did in your heart. So let's go ahead.
It doesn't say that they won any awards.
All right. We'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the trivia of this movie. There's just a few things. So while filming a particularly bloody scene, Ryder Strong decided to go for a walk in the woods between setups. He was covered head to toe in blood, but he happened upon a group of 35 schoolgirls who were on a field trip. The girls screamed at the side of the blood-drenched hiker and then screamed even louder when they realized the hiker was the star of Boy Meets World. So the fandom took over. The girls chased him throughout the woods. He eventually made it back to the film crew and vowed never to wander off between scenes again. Can you imagine just... I mean, you hear that often about people staying in costume because it would take so long to put that makeup on them that they would go eat, like at the Warner Brothers studios, they would go eat at the cafeteria or whatever, and people would be like, what's he doing? But they don't realize it takes hours to put some of that makeup on, or it used to.
Well, that's a famous story when they were filming Planet of the Apes.
Yep.
It would take hours and hours and hours to put the makeup on.
Well, even when
they went to lunch, it was funny because like the orangutans would eat with the orangutans and the chimpanzees would eat with the chimpanzees.
But don't forget, even was it Dr. Zaius went on? Was it Johnny Carson? And he was still in his full costume.
Full costume on.
Right.
I remember one I think I forgot who it was. One of the actors, I think, is Roddy McDowell. He was driving home, and he was driving home still in makeup, and people saw him like at a stoplight.
Yep.
Dressed up.
Great.
So
great.
I understand it takes hours and hours. So if you're going to cover somebody with blood and all that kind of stuff, then you got to do it.
So crew member Robert Jones took home the decapitated body prop once the film wrapped and was pulled over while driving home by police officers at gunpoint who thought the corpse in the passenger seat was real. The police held Jones at gunpoint until they were able to confirm the lifelike body was only a prop. Can you imagine number one, why would you have it in the passenger seat with no head? Would you put it like your
so
trunk
you
or
could ride
something?
in the carpool lane.
Yeah, the high speed pass.
Yeah, you get the high speed pass. You get the carpool lane if you got somebody in the passenger seat.
I mean, if I was going to be in a movie, I would take a prop too. I mean, it's just the way it is.
You got to. Yeah, you got to.
Director, Eli Roth, he got this idea. When you said farm in Iceland, people are like, man, that's kind of weird having a farm in Iceland, but it was a horse farm. So that's where he got that infection. Sound mixer John Neff survived the real flesh-eating bacterium, which he contracted in a hospital during minor surgery. It took 13 days of nonstop intensive care medical attention to save his life. He maintains that the makeup in this film is 100% accurate.
Man,
13 days in intensive care just to save his life. You've heard about down there in the South America, like in the Amazon, where if you relieve yourself in the Amazon and that bacteria, that thing can swim up your pee stream and, get you that way.
You gotta watch out for that little fish.
Yeah. Forget that, man. Peter Jackson actually stopped production on Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King 3 times to screen this movie for his entire crew. Jackson was so enthusiastic about the film, he gave director Eli Roth publicity quotes. So Peter Jackson does love this. So during her sex scene with Ryder Strong, Eli Roth wanted Serena Vincent to be completely naked. But Vincent, who had previously played a student who never wore clothes in not another teen movie, was concerned that overexposing herself would lead to her being typecast as a nude scene chick and refused to bare her rear in Cabin Fever. The standoff between the director and actress became so intense that Vincent informed Roth that if he truly wanted a naked butt in the scene, he would have to get another actress to play the role of Marcy. Eventually, the two hammered out a compromise. Vincent would show 1 inch of her butt on film, no more, no less. When the scene was set to be filmed, Roth bought a ruler and literally measured 1 inch of Vincent's butt crack. Bed sheets were then taped to Vincent's butt at the designated level before the sex scene was shot. Ironically, Vincent later volunteered to bare her breast in a scene that didn't call for them. During the bathroom scene where she discovers the rashes on her back, the script had her wearing a robe. When she lowered, she turned her back to the mirror. But Vincent thought this scenario was too unrealistic and volunteered to do it topless. She wouldn't do another nude scene in a movie until the short film Man-Child in 2007, where she was totally nude during a skinny dipping scene. Isn't that crazy? You don't want to show your butt, but hey, I'll go topless because hey, it doesn't look natural.
Hey, so what'd you do at work today, Jimbo? Well, I had to tape
bed sheet to my butt.
Yep, they're all.
Well,
ruler, ruler guy, come here.
I'm reminded of that movie. I think it was Swordfish with Halle Berry. And they said, hey, we want you to do this topless. She said, I'm not going to do it. They said, we'll give you like $3 million. She said, okay. I was really? So
exactly. That's funny. It's like, okay, 1 inch, but 1 inch only.
This movie had the lowest budget of any Lionsgate film released in 2003, $1.5 million, and was their highest grossing film of 2003, $22 million box office. It was also the most profitable horror film released in 2003. Saw in 2004, another horror film released by Lionsgate, would beat this film's record the following year in 2004 for highest grossing film over a similar low budget, grossing over $100 million with a budget of $1.2 million. So another shout out to Lionsgate for the Saw franchise. Those are some pretty good movies too.
True that.
The audition scene the producers chose for actress who wanted to play Marcy was her notorious "It's Like Being on a Plane" scene, in which Marcy compares her dire situation to being on a plane doomed to crash. This was an unfortunate choice on the part of the producers, as was the scheduled date for the auditions. Can you guess? September 11th, 2001. The producers made efforts to call off the auditions, but due to the general chaos gripping the U.S. that day, they found it impossible to contact many of the actresses before their scheduled audition times. Consequently, the auditions went ahead as planned, and Serena Vince's portrayal of this scene won her the role of Marcy. So, man, talk about bad timing. And I do believe, wasn't it the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire? I think they had scenes that had the Twin Towers in the background too, and I think they had to take those out.
You're exactly right. And even like the original Spider-Man, the movie poster, had him with on the Twin Towers and a web between the two towers.
Yep.
They had to like change it all up.
Director of photography Scott Kevin is visible in the rearview mirror in the truck when the kids are driving to the cabin. Director Eli Roth noticed this in the editing room and kept it in so Scott would be in the movie because he has appeared in all of his movies that he had shot. So he's like, we'll just leave him in there.
Yeah, that counts. That counts.
Out of the 347 films shown at the 2002 Toronto International Film Festival, Cabin Fever was screened last and became the highest selling movie at the festival. Nearly all of the 9 studios who engaged in a bidding war had passed on the movie at the script stage, the exception being the eventual winner, Lionsgate, which was not in existence when the script was first written. So,
wow, that's cool.
The original.
Can you imagine the world without Lionsgate? That's pretty.
Oh
neat.
Man, no, it's pretty. They put out some pretty good stuff.
That's what I'm saying. So this movie is like the movie that built Lionsgate, built all of these things. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. The original killer dog, Jake, was hired without a rehearsal and sight unseen because Eli Roth loved the idea of using the dog in the Patrick Swayze movie Black Dog from 1998, and thereby being only 2 degrees from Swayze. The problem was the dog was by then 4 years older, arthritic, and tired. After a full day of shooting, and if all the few second bits were spliced expertly together, they had only about a minute or so of usage footage, so they could only use a small amount of film. All the dog scenes had to be reshot with a new dog. With no time or money to find a replacement, what did they do? The producers cast a real police attack dog that was so vicious and unpredictable, no actors could appear with it on camera. The crew would hide behind the trucks during its scenes, and cameras were operated by remote control. So this must have been a bad Jose of a dog. You ever seen one of those?
Good actor.
You ever seen one of those dogs in actions?
Oh yeah. Oh, you don't want to mess with it.
When I was at a warehouse and I was the supervisor, and one of the cars got broken into, I called the police and this canine unit showed up. The dog got out, friendly dog. I mean, he's like, you want to pet him? I was like, yeah. So I petted him. He said, now watch this. And he said this secret word. I don't know what it is or what he said. He said this secret word. That thing gritted its teeth and went into full voracious mode, man. I mean, it was scary. So
yeah, they dress you up like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
If you want to
just go out there and boom.
If you want to take your shot with a K9 unit, I don't, because I've seen them in action and they will tear you up.
And they're trained to like hold on to you until
they're released, until that word is said. Exactly. So yeah, not for me. Joey Kern was rushed to the hospital 4 separate times for different eye injuries. This guy wasn't having a very good day. His injuries disrupted the filming schedule, and many scenes that were shot to be shot later were rescheduled at the last minute so that minimal shooting time would be lost while Kern recovered. This resulted in numerous supposedly daytime scenes, mainly the ones inside the cabin, being shot in the middle of the night. When Marcy sleeps with Paul, it wasn't meant to be seem so sudden. The scenes that were filmed but not included in the final movie show Marcy and Paul becoming closer than it happened, because it was just like, boom, let's go. As the film progresses, the light levels become increasingly darker. I will say that it's kind of a dark movie. It's hard to make out at times. But this is partially by design and partially due to circumstance. In some scenes, the film's color correction and underexposure is deliberately darkened. But when Joey Kern was injured on set, it caused many of the on-fly changes for the shooting schedule. As a result, many of the scenes that take place inside the cabin on the last day, such as Serena Vince's leg shaving and sex scenes with Ryder Strong, were actually filmed in the middle of the night. The light from the windows is all artificial, which makes it dimmer than genuine sunlight and hence makes the scene look darker.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah. The awkwardness during the impromptu sex scene between Serena Vincent and Ryder Strong drew from the genuine awkwardness between the two actors at the time, particularly their involuntary bodily responses to the action. Strong reportedly said to Vincent while the scene was being filmed that it was very unsexy. His character seems to have the exact same sentiment. Oh man, that's one thing you don't want to hear when your acting career.
Yeah.
Jordan,
Oh yeah, I had a sex scene. It wasn't that sexy.
very unsexy.
Very sexy.
Jordan Ladd's distress during her final faceless scene was genuine, as she had just moments earlier seen herself with the gruesome mask on in a mirror for the first time, and the sight reportedly drove her to tears.
Oh,
Looked pretty ugly, pretty rough. Lionsgate Film bought this movie for an undisclosed sum in the high seven figures, with an 8-figure commitment to prints and advertising. It's the most money Lionsgate has ever spent acquiring a motion picture. Well, up to that point.
sure.
The bowling alley story that Paul tells around the campfire is actually based on a real-life quadruple homicide that occurred in Boston in 1980. A former employee, Brian Dyer, broke in and killed 4 employees. He bound their hands, 3 with handcuffs, the 4th with his belt, and bludgeoned them all with a bowling pin before shooting them all once in the head. 3 of them died at the scene, while 1 would later die in the hospital. Dyer was eventually caught and sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms. He died in prison in 2011. So when he's telling that story in the movie, it actually took place in real life. Sad. Several of the songs on the soundtrack are taken from the same movie in 1972, the Last House on the Left soundtrack. So a little tie in there. According to writer Strong, on the first day of shooting, the film's independent investors pulled out of the project because of the anthrax scare. You remember the whole anthrax scare?
Oh yeah.
That was crazy. That was wild times too back then. The film began shooting just a month after 9/11. So this was ranked number 1 on the most gruesome movie disease of all time by Total Film Magazine in February 2013. Wow. So a lot has come out since then. So you add another 12 years of movies to that. So according to Eli Roth, the prosthetics originally made for the leg shaving sequence froze in transit and were unusable when they arrived on the set. So what they do instead? They applied special makeup to Serena Vincent's legs and hit it with shaving cream. It works. It works.
Yeah, it plays. It's really good. It was filmed really well. That's one of the things I'll give this movie is, even though it has a really low budget, they do a really good job of just filming it.
Yep. You have already touched on that one. So during the end credits, 2 actors are credited as Shemp and Fake Shemp. This is probably a homage to fellow horror director Sam Raimi, who would often credit extras as Shemp in honor of actor Shemp Howard of the Three Stooges. The term Fake Shemp refers to the practice where Howard was often substituted by a stand-in after his death. So I love it.
That's cool. I like that.
Angelo Badalamenti donated 3 compositions to the Cabin Fever soundtrack: Red Dream, Deputy Winston's theme, and Love theme, when the production nearly ran out of money during filming. So they said, here, I'll do this for free. Well, that was nice of them.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, how many times does Winston say party or any form of the word in this movie?
Oh, good question. Let's see. Just that one scene alone when he's hanging out with all the teenagers trying to be cool. I'm going to go high and say 30.
15.
30 times.
15.
15. Okay.
This is one of those, you come across this trivia. This one's pretty funny. I ain't going to lie, but Bert's shirt says ripe on 6/13/04. Do you know why that is there, Bond?
6/13/04?
Yeah. It's hilarious.
No clue.
Are you ready? Don't laugh.
Mm-hmm.
This is the date Mary Kate Olsen and Ashley Olsen turned 18.
That's awesome.
I read that and I was like, oh, I have to say that. That's funny.
That's a good one.
We talked about those guys being in Detroit Rock City already. So Serena Vincent has credited Cabin Fever 2002 as being responsible for the birth of her child, as Cabin Fever initiated her career as a horror film scream queen, and she met the father of her child at a horror film convention. So fellas, if you're looking for love in all the wrong places, you might want to go to a horror convention because you never know.
Nice place to meet a lady.
And I had this next trivia. I might still have it out there in one of the totes because I don't really watch a lot of DVDs. I do a lot of streaming and I do a lot of digital buying now. But some of the copies of the Region 1 DVD were enclosed in a DVD slipcover with a Lentiker card glued onto the box. It was kind of like a 3D card that was Yeah. I have that somewhere.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is it like? The lenticular card? Does it when you move it? What does it do? Like
it's kind of like it's almost like 3D. Like it had the picture of the skull in the cabin, and you would kind of just move it back and forth, and it kind of like jumped out at you. You know, it's pretty cool. If I find it, I'll post a video for you.
I was kind of hoping it would be the shaving scene, but all right.
Oh yeah, that'd be gross. I was kind of hoping it'd be the wound on the thigh.
The wound on the thigh scene.
And then Eli Roth, of course, he was the Lost Tiger who was named Justin in the end credits, but Roth himself is credited as David Kaufbird. That's who he went for as his scene. So, all right, that's all the trivia. Bond, what do you think about Cabin Fever? Not Cabin in the Woods, but Cabin Fever. And do you recommend people to watch it? And what are you going to rate this movie?
All right. So, other low-budget movies, I'm thinking Night of the Living Dead. Low budget movie. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Evil Dead, all of those movies are filmed on shoestring budgets. So is this one. So overall, I like this movie. I thought it was funny in the right places. The problem I had with it was there's way too much cursing in it for me.
Oh, way.
And that's just a personal taste. I understand if there's cursing in a movie, it doesn't bother me. But it just seems like there was an excess of cursing in it where it started to distract from the plot, distract from the characters, distract from the story. So right away, the same thing with like the sex scene, it seemed forced.
It was very unsexy.
So many scenes that seemed forced. It wasn't, it was not very sexy. Not very sexy. So I had a problem with those kind of things. And like you're saying with the slurs at the end, those kind of, to me, it distracts from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like scary movies. I like horror movies. I like gore. I think I'm going to give this one probably like a 7.5.
Okay. Fair.
So it's up there. It's good. You know what I'm saying? For what they were working with and the history behind it, I think 7.5.
So maybe if you could find it on network television, edited down version, it might be better in your opinion for you. Yeah,
I'm thinking so. If they would cut some of the words, some of the curse words out for me, so it's not so distracting, I think that would help out a lot.
All right. Yeah, for me, I think I love this movie. I think it's got a good story. It's got a good premise. It's got that twist at the end of the little kids going to sell lemonade and then giving it to the sheriff that had just shot the one guy that he thought he had made it to the end of the movie. That leg shaving scene, that is something that sticks with you because when we were talking about doing this movie, you're like, is that the one with the leg shaving scene? I said, I think so. And you're like, okay, that's like the only thing you remembered about it because it's something that sticks with you. It is so disturbing. It sticks with you. And that's good because that's hard to do in this day and age. Again, I'm not a big language guy. If you've seen Scarface and they drop the F-bomb 385 times or whatever it is, or, some of that stuff's just overdone. It doesn't need to be in movies for the movie to be successful. Now, as we talked about them dropping the racial slur in this movie at the beginning and it comes back at the end, it's the N word. I'm not going to say it because I don't agree with it. And I don't say that word, but to me, that didn't even need to be in there. And we didn't even talk about the pancake kid, the guy that was exactly. There's something, might have been something in the water before that because this kid, all he wants is pancakes and he just yells pancakes. And they get in a fight with all the people and everything. So
they had the little sign that says, don't talk to Dennis or don't touch Dennis. Or
right. So, I mean, that was another side quest. That's like in a video game. If that's a side quest, I'm not going to do that side quest. So, I think they had some good character development as the movie went on, but some of it, I'd like to see some of the deleted scenes because I think it could have drawn the story even closer. Like they said, just because there was the couple that would always argue and then they would have sex and they'd go back to arguing and throwing stuff. And it got a little choppy at times, where I think if they would have left some of that stuff in there, and I get it, they probably had the studios wanted them because some of the scenes out. But when you do that, it kind of chops the movie up. You're like, well, I don't remember them doing this, or why is this happening? Because there's something that important that happened in a cut scene that they didn't remember to put in or put in the movie that would have made it fluid more. For me, even though I like this movie, I'm going to give it a 6. And I think it's really well done. And like I said, the language is just over the top. It's got some great special effects in it. It really does. Just to see how he come up on the fly, where the especially for the legs shaving scene, where those ones froze and now he just let's hide it under shaving cream. Brilliant.
Well, any scene where she's in the shed, locked up in the shed, is just a great scene.
Great.
Those scenes are great. And I think that's what this movie has. It has a lot of great scenes, but it doesn't flow well.
Right. And I would recommend anybody watch this movie at least once, because it does bring something to the genre of horror that's kind of been lost lately in the horror genre, and that's entertainment. And when it's something like this that is real, it just adds that special fear factor to you that's hard to get away with. So,
yeah, I totally agree. I think that I would recommend this movie to anybody who is a fan of horror movies. You'd have to really know the person, know what kind of movies they're into. But if they're into horror movies, this is almost like a must-see, I think.
Absolutely. Well, we are the tragedy.
I did find out real quickly. There are 2 other movies based on Cabin Fever. There's Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever. Because remember, this was October break.
Better happen over spring break?
Yeah, this was October break. There's another one called Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever.
They got winter fever too.
And then there's a prequel. There is a prequel called Cabin Fever Patient Zero.
Bob, we might have to go and dive into these.
Zero.
Maybe it explains
2016.
Maybe it explains a lot more. And I also heard they might be redoing this one. So we'll see. We'll keep our lookout for it. But we are the Tragedy of Cinema podcast. You can find us on Facebook. Bond's very active in the Facebook group. I'm active in there, TikTok, wherever. So if you like what you heard, you want to leave us a review, that's fine. If you want us to cover a movie that we haven't covered before, I mean, our library is over 400 full now. So after over 6 years now, there's a lot of stuff to choose from. So with that being said, I think this episode's coming to close, and that's a wrap.
And cut.
Tragedy of cinema, where memories shimmer. Join us as we toast to the tales we love the most. The tragedy